Hello, I am Amanda Wheeler, and I'm going to be offering a critical literacy, critical teaching, professional development tools for preparing responsive teachers. This book introduces an innovative approach to literacy in the teacher education program, emphasizing critical literacy and responsive teaching. It chronicles the development and implementation of a literacy lab that is situated in a high poverty urban elementary school, aiming to transform teacher preparation into a process of personal and social change. There are a few core themes in this text. The first one is critical literacy development, which is all about encouraging teachers to analyze text and context critically, understanding that the interplay of power there, prejudice, and agency. It also has accelerative instruction, which is all about combining critical literacy with strategies to accelerate the process of literacy for struggling readers. Then there's transformative teacher preparation, viewing teacher development as a journey that reshapes beliefs about students, language, culture, and learning. We're going deeper into a teacher preparation program. And last, a community engagement element. So where it's about fostering strong connections between teachers, students, and families to enrich the educational experience as a whole. So for an opening activity here, I have a personal literacy journey. So if I was teaching this to a group, I would ask to do a think, pair, share, which is what we ask of our students a lot. But I want people in the class to reflect on a time when literacy made a significant impact on your teaching. Reflect on that time, think about that, and then you're going to share that experience with a shoulder partner. And then after you have time to do that, then I would ask a group discussion. How do these experiences shape our approach to literacy instruction? In the first section of the book, the authors introduce the theoretical foundations of their work. And I'm not sure, I don't think I mentioned the authors, which are Cheryl Dozier, Peter Johnston, and Rebecca Rogers, with a foreword by Jobeth Allen. In chapter 1, they offer the logic and motivation of our inquiry into our teaching. The book describes the parallels we see among teaching, literacy, and researching our practice. The authors also describe the parallels they see across layers of their literacy lab, which is their teaching and learning experience. In chapter 2, they explore the logic of teaching for the goals of accelerating critical literacy. It clarifies the demands of this teaching and the obstacles that we must overcome as teachers. Chapter 3 explores the significance of case studies and a critical awareness of language. The central thread throughout this first section of the book is critical and collaborative inquiry into language patterns, histories, and practices and their context and consequences. And as you can see through my book, there are lots of tabs and notes that I have taken throughout the book as it was packed full of information. So here I would like to go with a research connection to this book. In 2024, there was a study by C. Lee in the International Journal of Critical Pedagogy that explores the simultaneous instruction of critical literacy and foundational literacy skills to emergent literacy learners. The research demonstrates that with appropriate scaffolding, young students can engage in critical analysis of text while developing essential reading skills. This approach mirrors the methods that are advocated here in critical literacy, critical teaching, where teachers are encouraged to intertwine critical perspectives with literacy instruction to enhance student engagement and comprehension. Part 2 focuses on the details of the author's reading practice, and it also explores the tools and processes that they use. The chapters alternate between the analysis of the nature, logic, and effects of these instructional tools, as well as case studies that are written by teachers who have graduated from the program, which is my favorite part of the book. In the tools chapters, which are chapters 4, 7, 10, and 13, the authors consider changes in perceptions, language practices, and interactions between teachers and students. The chapters are informed by analyses of teachers and students in the program and the author's role in their development. The book organizes these tools into thematic clusters. Each are designed to support critical literacy development, reflective teaching, and responsive pedagogy. So we're going to go over the tools that they have here in the book. These tools aim to challenge teachers' preconceived notions and encourage new perspectives in their thinking. The first tool is teaching context, locating the literacy lab in diverse urban settings to prompt reflection on cultural assumptions. So we're looking at, here, we talk a lot about socioeconomic status, and that is definitely what the teaching contexts have in them. Tool 2 is the home communication, engaging with students' families to integrate community knowledge into your teaching. Tool 3, matching teachers and students, pairing teachers with students from different grade levels to disrupt any type of habitual practices or bias that there might be. And tool 4, critical emphasis, which is incorporating textual and social analysis to highlight the political nature of literacy. These tools focus on documenting and understanding student learning. So tool 5 is roaming in the unknown, which that's follow the learner's lead to build on existing knowledge. Tool 6 is documenting learning, observing and recording student progress to inform your instruction. And tool 7, writing reports and updates. So communicating student development with stakeholders, such as, if you're in the teacher program, you have instructors as well as parents and any other stakeholders that might be involved. Building learning communities. These tools are designed to foster collaborative and reflective educational environments. So tool 8, instructional conversations, developing a community of learners through dialogue. Tool 9, responding to books and articles, connecting theory and practice by reflecting on readings. Tool 10 is celebrating learning, recognizing and sharing successes among teachers, students, and family. And tool 10, reflective essay, so synthesizing learning experiences to deepen understanding. Developing reflective teaching. These tools encourage teachers to critically examine and improve their instructional practices. Tool 12, documenting teaching, learning to notice and name teaching strategies and their effects. Tool 13, reflective journals, writing to understand and analyze teaching experiences. Tool 14, observation conferences, extending practice through collaborative discussions. Tool 15, videotaped lessons, conferring with colleagues using recorded teaching sessions. And tool 16, analyzing transcripts, rethinking the language of interactions to improve communication. The 16 tools that I've just went through collectively support the book's mission to prepare teachers who are critically aware, reflective, and responsive to the diverse needs of their students. By implementing these strategies, educators can foster more equitable and effective literacy instruction. My favorite part of the book is the case study chapters, which are listed there on the screen. The case study chapters provide concrete examples of teaching and learning, representing a wide range of perspectives from teachers who are just finishing the program to those who have been teaching a while, and even some who have returned as co-instructors with the authors of this book. The teachers in these chapters share their experiences with different instructional tools. As I will highlight later, some teachers found connecting with the family that was the key to acceleration of literacy. Others found that providing choice accelerated their students' learning. Teachers in the Literacy Lab established ongoing communication with students' families by documenting students' literate lives through photographs, collecting family stories, and making home visits. This approach challenged stereotypes and integrated community knowledge into the learning process. So the family engagement through the home connection was vital here. The power of debriefing. One of the teachers, Karen Amundens, shares many different powers that helped her journey in the literacy lab. While reflection isn't always pleasant, she found the power of debriefing to be essential in her success. And so she asked herself questions, how did that go? Why do I think it worked or it didn't work? After graduating from the literacy lab, one of the teachers who did a case study, Jennifer Grand Steele, initiated a parent and teacher book group. And so this book group involved parents and teachers who were reading adolescent literature together. This initiative fostered respectful partnerships, enhanced parental engagement, and created a collaborative environment for discussing literature and addressing controversial topics. The next case study is titled Student Response to Tragedy Through Poetry. And in the aftermath of the Columbia tragedy, a fifth grade class engaged in writing poetry to express their feelings. The students' poems, which emphasized respect, patriotism, and bravery, were compiled into a book that reached a state senator and eventually even the White House, demonstrating the empowering potential of critical literacy. Since the case study chapters were my favorite ones, I developed a graphic organizer for people to use if they are going through the case studies, and I just titled it the Case Study Deep Dive. So there's a column for each of the case studies. What did the teacher do that made it relevant, and what critical tools were used? So going back to the tools chapter so we could intertwine those together. What made it effective? So using the tool, what made that teaching effective for students? And then how could we adapt this? What could we change? What could we make better? How would we change that for the best? So I thought teachers would be able to use this graphic organizer. Part 3 is the final section of this book, Teacher Change and Program Change. The final section of the book considers teacher changes and the evolution of the program. In Chapter 15, the authors examine the indicators they use to evaluate the effects of their teaching and their basis. And in the final chapter, 16, they pull together the threads of the book. They describe their current problem solving and present a perspective look at the trajectory of their work. Some discussion prompts that I came up with for discussing the book after the professional development are listed on the screen. How can we balance foundational skills with critical literacy? That also, a lot of that information would come from the research article that I had. What barriers might we face in implementing critical literacy practices? How can we support diverse learners in developing critical literacy skills? And what role does critical literacy play in digital environments? Critical literacy and critical teaching offers a compelling model for teacher education that integrates critical analysis with practical strategies to support struggling readers. By situating teacher preparation within real-world context and emphasizing community engagement, the book here provides valuable insights for educators aiming to foster responsive and transformative teaching practices. And I wanted to leave here with a quote from Louisa Moats, who is a science of reading and literacy guru. We will never decrease the number of children who struggle with reading if we do not improve how we prepare teachers. And last, I have a few resources that I used, of course, which is the book that I presented on, as well as a research article teaching critical literacy and foundational literacy skills to emergent literacy learners. And that was listed in the slide. And then last is the graphic organizer that I made for the case studies and a link for that. Thank you.